It's not strength that begins wars. Strength ends
No.
wars.
So we should throw the kitchen sink at this from the standpoint of all the sanctions at the maximum level, restricting as much as we shouldn't allow a Russian-based airline to land in the United States. I mean, everything should be sanctioned. And the same should go with the European countries. They should literally shut them, isolate them as much as possible.
Yeah, and the problem with the European countries is that they've been so reliant on Russian energy now for some time.
Well, and when Germany, decommissioned all their nuclear plants.
I was just going to say that. I mean, their lurch towards wind energy and solar and decommissioning their nuclear plants has just been a gift to Vladimir Putin. Just a complete gift. Yeah. And we've done a lot of the same here.
Yeah.
You know, with the Green New Deal's war against fossil fuels.
Right.
And as of 2020 or 2020, we were energy independent, and now we have a president begging the international community to give us more oil.
Yeah.
At a reasonable price and start.
That'll go over well.
And start increasing production, and that's just not going to happen.
No.
Because he's not willing to use American power to make it happen. And that's the problem.
Well,
what did Barack Obama say about Joe Biden? Never underestimate Joe's ability to F it up.
F it up, yeah.
Yeah, well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe's ability.
Well, and speaking
really
of Barack Obama, I think this is a good time to remember that during the 2012 debate, when the question was, what's the greatest geopolitical threat the United States faces, and Romney said, Russia, Barack Obama laughed, ha, 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 1980s called, wants their foreign policy back.
Yeah, and the problem there was that Romney never defended his position after that in a much more stronger fashion. You know, for years I sponsored a seminar in Washington, D.C. called Inside Washington, and many times we would go to the Pentagon. And I asked that very same question to some Pentagon brass during a very private briefing. I mean, you look at the geopolitical map, you know, and I kind of challenged one of the generals on this. You're talking about Iran, and you're talking about Afghanistan, and you're talking about China. Why aren't you speaking of Russia? And he said, well, we keep our tabs on the Russians. Well, I mean, but if you look at the map that you put up, sir, Russia is involved in every single part of that map.
Exactly.
Challenging us on every single part of that map. So what Mr. Romney had to say was not that far off base.
No, it wasn't far off base
And
at all.
I've never, ever believed that the Cold War ended. I was a contrarian in that regard. It entered a new phase, but it never ended. Because if you see what Russia has done globally over the last 20-odd years since the Cold War ended, it was to confront the United States in other ways.
I mean, they've never stopped trying to disrupt the United States.
No, never.
So all this talk in 2016, after the 2016, about Russia was meddling they had been meddling in our elections for decades.
Yep.
This is not a surprise.
No.
And when you look at what Putin has done with using gas to kill innocent civilians in Syria,
Absolutely.
going because
Another
he sided with
Barack Obama's thin red line.
Yeah, he is probably the world's greatest threat. I mean,
he's pushing everyone's buttons and pulling everybody's chains. He definitely is the one who is trying to confront the United States and the post Cold War world order, and he wants to reconstitute Russia, the Soviet Union, the way it was. And so your point about what happens with the Baltic states now I think is well taken.
Yeah.